So now the next thing that they do is they want to manufacture consent, make it look like they got everybody on board with this program before they went along with it. So why manufacture consent? The conspiracy's plans are, of course, unpopular, so that they make it look like it's popular. The conspiracy's agents become ineffective without public favor. They depend on perceived legitimacy, and if they're exposed as being the illegitimate people that they are, they lose their power. It marginalizes, of course, opposing voices. Everybody's doing it. The conspiracy needs the appearance of public support to preserve their legitimacy. So how do they manufacture that consent? They encourage the public to meaninglessly voice their opinions so the conspiracy can pretend their plan was molded and shaped by the public. In the state of Utah, just for example, and other states have the same thing, they have this in what's called Envision Utah, which is an Agenda 21 organization, Agenda 2030 organization, and they have these questionnaires where they get you to fill out online to see which big government solution do you want. So that way they can say, oh, thousands and thousands of people filled these out, and we're going with what made the most sense based on these surveys. Everybody wants these things. They push people to participate in making these false choices. There was one, for example, the choices, they actually provided, the idea of, preserving your property rights, but they equated it to extinction. And then they showed, high density housing as this utopia of the future. They manipulate the data, of course, or outcomes after public participation to approve the conspiracy's plan. They'll just manipulate the percentages anyways. And so they have manufactured consent through supposed voting. You have the Utah launches their medical marijuana signature drive. And of course, the Governor Cox tells the lawmakers, you guys got to stop pushing these bills without the public support and input. And so they would have these meetings. And so it looked like everybody wanted to have this new program that set up a list of people that weren't allowed to have guns because they're violating federal law, but because everybody wanted it. And we have this Envision Utah again. They are using these questionnaires to get people to move towards globalization, high density housing, et cetera. Of course, we have, they're promoting this new green drivers can save by opting to pay a fee per miles driven. So the same program that was put out there by the United Nations to not charge you, of course, you shouldn't be charged to own your vehicle every year anyways. But instead of doing that, they would, because they were saying that, they weren't collecting enough money from electric vehicles on the gas tax. So now we're going to start charging you for the miles you drive on your electric vehicle, and of course, your gas vehicles as well. And so they're doing this in liberal states like California and Oregon. But in Utah, they will call it the conservative solution to climate change. And it's the same exact programs that, of course, these big government states are doing. And of course, we have these essay contests put out by these Agenda 2030 organizations to give consent of why, it says why I like my community. So they're just they're saying, look, everybody's writing these great things about all the things that we're doing that is increasing government, manufactured consent. Now, Nelson Mandela is an example of a communist that they would use this idea of manufactured consent to give him, in his communist efforts in South Africa, the idea and the perception of legitimacy through consent that they manufactured. According to the Nelson Mandela's book, The Long Walk to Freedom, he says, in 1954, we invited all participating organizations and their followers to send suggestions for a freedom charter. We want everybody's input in our new freedom charter, even though he's a communist. Circulars were sent out to townships and villages all across the country. If you could make the laws, what would you do? We're going to get your consent and your participation. Suggestions for a new constitution were to come from the people themselves and conspirator agents. All across the country were authorized to seek ideas in writing from everyone in their area. The charter would be a document born of the people. Like other enduring political documents, such as the American Declaration of Independence, the French Declaration of the Rights of Man, the Illuminati, the Jacobins, written by, and the Communist Manifesto, the Freedom Charter is a mixture of practical goals and poetic language. So You have one good thing and you sandwich it together with these two satanic conspiracy documents as if they're all the same. And so that they were pushing towards this, of course, conspiracy approved charter that made it look like everybody was on board with.